Hey guys and gals, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Salutations. I was just thinking about the decentralization of Bitcoin. Any project, quote unquote project, any crap coin, scam coin that gets created now, everybody knows about it. So it gets captured immediately, every time. It's easily manipulable, it's inflatable, it's corruptible. There's a CEO, usually a founder, a foundation, a company, a centralized entity that controls it, just like Ethereum. When Ethereum was proof of work, at least, it had something. It was attached to some sort of a real world infrastructure, or attached to the physical reality that humans experience. It was attached to the real world when it was proof of work. When it went proof of stake, I immediately sold it. Actually, before it, because they kept saying, we're going proof of stake, and it never happened. And they would, extend the time and increase the time until they went proof of stake. Eventually, they did go proof of stake, and I had long sold my Ethereum, because proof of work is the only way. It's the only thing that's true to the physical reality of the world. Now, but most importantly, Bitcoin's immaculate conception is the number one thing. And emphasizing too that when Bitcoin was created, when digital scarcity was discovered by a human named Satoshi Nakamoto, or a group of humans named Satoshi, nobody knew about said project. I mean, very few cyberpunks they would know. Very few, maybe a dozen or two, maybe a few dozens, maybe, right? Because there was a forum that they would talk and speak about the project and all that. But when digital scarcity Bitcoin was discovered, nobody knew about it. So it was impossible to get captured, or very difficult to get captured. And now Bitcoin has grown so much the past 16 years that now it's beyond ever being captured. It's impossible now, right? Because we're up to 940, right, exahashes. It's a ridiculous amount of computing power. It's just not possible, not real, not feasible. So what happens? What happens is a lot of scammers, a lot of scam coins. Some people, I presume, have a good heart. Most don't. They just want the money. These foundations and these companies and these corporations with these small group of people, or a large group of people, doesn't matter, or one guy, they issue a token and they dump it on everybody. It's a pump and dump scheme, right? So this is why Bitcoin is the only way. It's the only monetary asset, decentralized, uninflatable, incorruptible, that's going to be for all of humanity, all 8 billion plus people, right? Because no one entity can capture it. No one company, no one nation state. You'd have to deploy hundreds of billions of dollars of computing power to start to do a 51% attack. At that point, you're incentivized to use said computer to make the money. You're incentivized to deploy the ASICs, the computing power, to get paid by the Bitcoin, the network, right? So this is the beauty of it, that I watch Bitcoin content all day, every day, just kind of, and when I'm not watching Bitcoin content, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm kind of processing the beauty of Bitcoin. And it's amazing. This is why every week I buy Bitcoin, because I know for a fact, not only is it not gonna die, it's going to increase. 940 exahashes is not where it's gonna stay. Remember, it's gonna go up and up and up. It's already incalculable by the human brain, the amount of computing power. And give it 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's going to be at such a high computing power that, well, most people are going to most Bitcoiners are going to be running not only a node, but a few miners that are like an ASIC winter heater for your home, for your business, for your office, whatever, for your car. Most people are going to have some sort of device or contraption that they are going to be mining Bitcoin. And most importantly, in my opinion, securing the network. So the security of Bitcoin will only increase, thus increasing the decentralization. This is what scammers don't understand. Bitcoin latches on to human incentives. And thus, when it latches onto human incentives, Bitcoin grows itself like the Blob. Go look at the movie called The Blob from the 40s or 50s. It was this small mass of thing that fell from space, right? And when it fell, it started consuming things and items and peoples and car and houses and things and trees, everything. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger as it consumed. This is why I call the Bitcoin the Blob, because Bitcoin just eats computing power, just eats space, just eats things. But as it expands and grows bigger and bigger, it benefits humanity. Now that we've already separated money and state. It's about now more people to fathom, understand, and come to the network. And the laggards, now we're the early, how does it go? Innovators, early minority, right? We're still very early, somewhat early, right? We're maybe 2 steps before the point where most of the billions of humans come into the network. And then the laggards, it's at that point now, you're no longer early. So the Bitcoin is going to be 10, 50 million. And the computing power is going to be 15 times what it is today, right? So at that point, you're no longer early. So get Bitcoin now. You have a good 3, 4, 5 years to acquire, increase your Bitcoin holdings so you have generational wealth for your children. And you never, ever, ever sell Bitcoin. In 5 to 10 years, we're going to be able to exchange goods and services for your Satoshis, not for your Bitcoin, because you should never sell a whole Bitcoin. You should keep it. And eventually, as everybody's accepting goods and services and Bitcoin for Bitcoin, you'll be able to pay your rent or your mortgage or your electrical bill or your water bill or your groceries. You're going to be able to use small amounts of Satoshis to buy it, right? Because if you have 100 or 200 million Satoshis, you can afford to pay 15 Satoshis for a huge amount of groceries. At that point, Bitcoiners will be using Bitcoin, but very small amount of it, and will be replenishing the Bitcoin, right? You spend 15 sats, replenish it. You bought a coffee for 5 sats, replenish it, right? Immediately replenish it. And at that point, you have generational wealth, and you don't sell your Bitcoin. Your children don't sell their Bitcoin that you give to them, and your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. If you teach your lineage to be shrewd and prudent and intelligent and smart about their finances, you'll be able to preserve your Bitcoin for your entire generation, right? By then, hopefully, we're a spacefaring species, but that's the bright orange future. That's what Bitcoiners are all about. This is why I'm in this space. So I will never, ever sell my Bitcoin. I'll spend a couple Satoshis in 5 to 10 years, maybe. I'll replenish it immediately, buy a coffee, replenish. Bought a house, slowly try to replenish it. I mean, it's going to be tough because everything is going to be really expensive, but at least you're going the right direction. You're moving against the current, right? As right now, the world is just moving with the current. Government hyperinflates and inflates the fiat currency system that they have, and people can't afford groceries anymore. It's awful. So it's inevitable that people will come to Bitcoin. It's the obvious choice. once you understand it. People are hard-headed, so when you first tell a thing or two about Bitcoin to them, they're like, yeah, that's not for me. Or some people are like, nah, whatever, who cares? Not knowing that they're throwing away the opportunity of a lifetime, of a generational time, right? So I'm very grateful. This is why I'm so happy. People wonder why I'm so happy all the time, why I'm always smiling, why I'm always very nice to everybody, because the future is bright, and that's what Bitcoin gives you. That's the fruits of Bitcoin. This is why it's worth it. If I was given a choice, you can only run one in your house: a Bitcoin miner to secure the network, or your dryer. I'll dry my laundry all day, every day in the sun. I'll sun dry it. I'll find ways to dry it. I'll get a Bitcoin miner that's a heater to dry my laundry in my basement. I prefer to run the Bitcoin code because government fiat is enforced by the violence that government has the monopoly on, right? Obviously, everybody knows government has the monopoly on violence, which is good because then we impart justice blindly, right? Lady Justice should be blind, of course. They should be the same amount of justice for all the humans in society. But also the other side of the coin, the con is that government just prints money. Government is incentivized to print money and dump that crap coin scheme on its citizens, to the point that if you're closest to the fiat spigot, to the fiat money spigot, your family is stuffing their pockets. You and your family are stuffing your pockets with fiat currency, getting rich off the backs of the billions. This is what Bitcoin stops. This is what Bitcoin fixes. When you truly start to understand, I would instruct everybody to read the Bitcoin Standard by Dr. Saifedean Ammous. He has a PhD in economics. He's a very bright Middle Eastern guy. He exploded in fame because of his book. He's writing the entire curriculum for some Central American countries for this school, for the kids to learn economics in universities. So he's just a very famous guy. He's the advisor to the president of El Salvador, the economic advisor. So it's inevitable. It comes to a point that people are like, I can't pay my mortgage. I can't buy groceries for the children. What are we going to do? So people are going to say, wait, what's that Bitcoin thing? Oh my God, Gus bought Bitcoin in 2020 and it 20x'd his money. It 25x'd his money. Can I do that too? Of course. It's early still. It's very, very early. Oh, but I'll never get a Bitcoin. You can get a half a Bitcoin. You can get a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, an eighth, a tenth of a Bitcoin. And it's still a lot. It's still going to grow. It's early. Like I said, a Bitcoin is going to be worth tens of millions of dollars one day because they'll continue to print fiat forever. You can't print Bitcoin. It's impossible. You have to mine. It's called proof of work because you got to show the work. You got to show the work and you got to do the work to get paid. On the other side of the coin, the government doesn't need to provide any work. They just print the money off your backs. Wake up. Wake up. The future is bright. The future is beautiful. Humanity is going to prosper and thrive and flourish. And humanity will be happy. Our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren are going to have a great civilization to live in. So, all right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. The future is bright. Stack sats, buy the Bitcoin. Wow, it just hit 90,000 as we're speaking right now.